Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Trucking Tower podcast. In this episode of Heroes in Trucking, I'm very excited to be joined today by Tony Darnell, who is the manager of transportation at Lippert. How are you doing, Tony?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on with me. I recently saw an awesome story on LinkedIn about some work that you guys did with Boys and Girls Club of Elkhart County, and your company actually uses business as a force for good. Can you tell us about some of the life-changing things you've seen because of the volunteering work?
Well, I'll tell you, about 9 or 10 years ago, the company, long before I was there, decided to get involved in the community and make the community a better place by being a force for good. And you can search that hashtag business as a force for good on LinkedIn or other places, and you can find some of the stuff that we're doing. And honestly, we're in a lot of communities, and instead of just taking people and using them, and then when there's a separation from the employee-employer relationship, eventually you're going to run out of people. And if you want to have that continuity and engaged team members, they're not employees, they're a part of a team. We call them team members on purpose because they are there with a purpose and for a purpose. And we have these volunteer events that are sometimes they're organized, sometimes they're completely organic. Anybody can come up with one. You can submit a nonprofit or just an idea that you have. You can do that at the plant level or at the corporate level or at the company level and run with it, whatever that need is and wherever that's appropriate. And the Boys and Girls Club of Elkhart County in the Goshen office it was just a dodgeball challenge. Like, we went out there with a bunch of us older, not so much in shape guys, and we challenged the Boys and Girls Club, and we played, I don't know, 7 rounds of dodgeball in the gym. And oh man, the whole place smelled like Asper cream or Bengay or whatever topical ointment you use the next day. But we had a ball, and those kids had a ball, and they ended up beating us 4-3, but we were up 3-1 until, I think I had a whole high school football injury. We didn't have football at my high school, but I think I'm just out of shape and old. But yeah, we really enjoyed it. The kids enjoyed it, and we had a good time. And that's just one of the volunteer events that we do, is interact with the neighborhood kids.
I love that. That is so cool that you guys are involved in the community, volunteering. And it sounds like it's a culture thing. I'm going to ask you about that in a minute. But, in terms of work, what are some of the key challenges that you see facing companies today?
Well, I mean, obviously, in the last couple of years, it's been supply chain this and supply chain that. I think we're all seeing congestion in ports, rail. Demand is high. There's guys that are super smart that can talk more to that, like Kyle Lintner or Andrew Teal. Some of these guys that you can look through. I can't think of his name. Miller on LinkedIn is always one of the Bureau of Labor and Statistics features his data a lot, and he's really good at putting the charts and graphs and the data together into a usable format. But really, what you see is, everybody's talking about potential slowdown or recession. It's just the data doesn't support that. Demand is still greater than it was 2 years ago. It's higher than it was before the world took a break, but it's just the demand is there. We're going to be I hate the catchphrase new normal, but this is where we're at, and it's not going away. We're still there. And so supply chain is a key, in the past couple of years, item that most companies are unwillingly being forced to reckon with, whether that's purchasing or delivery or sourcing from different vendors, and getting a little bit more broad in our actual sourcing instead of relying on one place that may or may not be functioning at the time for whatever reason. And that's really been the challenge, the supply chain issues.
Absolutely. Supply chain has been in the news a lot. There's been a lot of challenges. And like you said, the demand's been really high, and it's been a challenge for a lot of companies to fulfill the orders they've got, especially given some of the port congestion and different things that have happened. But, you talk about volunteering and engagement that helps your company do more fulfilling work and set you apart from other companies. It sounds like it's really a part of your culture. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it was very intentional. Jason Lippert had his own realization of what he saw for the future and in his own life, and brought that to the company. And that's kind of what attracted me to the company in the first place. And when they reached out, I kicked the tires for a long time. I had somebody say, "Hey, you should check them out," and it was, for me, it was kind of like, no, I know enough about those guys. And I started watching Jason on LinkedIn and following, and next thing you know, I was getting excited about the stuff they were excited about. And when they reached out to me to, as a potential team member, I thought, well, I got to see this for real. So I took a bunch of tours. I was very skeptical, and I went in there and I saw people smiling at work in a factory setting, and I've never seen that in my life. And
right.
I'm like, what's so different? And, the engagement that we have with our team members comes from the work that we're doing that is greater than building commercial vehicle parts, greater than building RV, marine parts, or aftermarket sale parts. It's greater than automotive parts. And it's really that business is a force for good mantra that we're using to create a better and more fulfilled team member, because a better, more fulfilled team member, does a better job, cares about their job, and then they take that home and they're a better mom, they're a better dad, they're a better son, they're a better sister, whatever it is. Right. And it makes the community better as a whole. And that's where you get this business as a force for good, where we can give back to the people in the communities where we live and work. So we want this to be a great place to be. And we can't change the weather here in northern Indiana, but by gosh, we can make it a good place to be anyway.
Well, I love what you guys are doing. And I think you're 100% spot on. When you're involved in something bigger, right? I think it brings more satisfaction, for one. And people can get really connected to that and involved in that. And it changes the atmosphere, really. I feel like, our company, we've done a number of different philanthropic events and different things over the years. And I love that. It's probably the most satisfying part of work, honestly. So really love it that you guys are doing that. And, what's the best ways for people to connect with you, Tony?
I don't really have a social media presence much more than family and friends, but LinkedIn is definitely the way to find me. So I'm Tony Darnell on LinkedIn. As far as I know, I'm the only one, but
right.
I'm the only one in logistics anyway.
Well, we'll have your profile picture up for everybody to see. I'm sure they'll be able to find you pretty easily. They can obviously go to my LinkedIn post and see you and connect right to you from there. So I'll be sure and put your tag you on the post and everything. So I really appreciate you coming on with me, Tony. I love what you guys are doing. It's awesome.
Hey, thanks a lot. Anybody can do it. We're all here to make the world a better place.
Absolutely agree. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Trucking Tower Podcast. Thanks for joining, everybody. We'll see you soon.